15 years or so, we have to make a choice to buy new beds. This time, we had the opportunity to evaluate a third vendor called LINET, and the staff were able to trial the beds, and we had a couple of trial units and a couple of beds. We also brought in competitor beds for the staff to evaluate, but the LINET bed was the bed that they didn't want to part with. They found it to be extremely easy to move, very intuitive to use, and very functional. It had a lot of functional aspects that helped us to keep our patients safer and actually helped to keep the staff safer because of the ergonomics.
Our clinicians really liked the options that LINET was willing to bring to the table with their beds. Those options made it easier for our caregivers to do their jobs and certainly made it more comfortable and functional for the patient.
Some of the key things we were looking for in our bed was ease of use, the ability to give the patients a comfortable resting platform and still be able to functionally care for them and optimize the things we would need to use in a nursing world, be it the scales in the bed to help weigh the patient, which is continuity of care, the ability to get in and out of the bed easily for the patient. LINET's bed has a Mobi-Lift. It's a bar in the middle of the bed, and the nursing staff can easily maneuver the patient in and out of the bed and maximize their potential to help in that transfer.
One of the best things that I like about it is the fifth wheel, and that you can turn it on a dime. One person can transport the patient instead of two. They're very easy to operate.
The first thing, just having the background that I had, we did the pushing, we did the transferring. The bed was so light. The ease of just pushing it down the hall, it pushes like a stretcher, but it is a bed.
We've had great success since we've implemented the beds here. At first, a lot of my staff throughout the organization wanted to transition patients to stretchers or into wheelchairs. And now I'm seeing that my staff very much want to just keep them in their bed, which improves the comfort and the experience for the patient. Because anytime you don't have to move a patient out of the bed, it's going to be a better healing environment for them.
One of the things that we really like about the beds, being on a cardiac and stroke unit, is that the CHF patients have to be weighed nightly. The beds have the weights in them. We love that feature. So we don't have to get the patients out of bed to weigh them anymore. The controller has a light in the end of it, which allows us to do our neuro checks without having to run and find a light. They do have pieces that are removable. If you don't have to have the IV poles, you can take those completely off and put them in a different room for storage. They have the bed alarms also in them, which makes it wonderful for patients that are at risk for falls. You set the bed alarm and it will automatically go off. So the weights, the bed alarms, the lights, and the easy maneuverability of the bed is what I like the most.
The fact that it has the modular sleep deck is certainly a win from an infection prevention standpoint for environmental services. It also allows us to thoroughly take the bed apart to do PMs and inspections from an engineering standpoint.
Obviously, one of the concerns we had going into this was, okay, if we don't go with a Hill Rom or a Stryker, who we might have some greater familiarity with, what's the quality going to be like? The bed's manufactured in Europe and just less of a known quantity here in the States. So, what we actually did was a trial, a side-by-side trial, where our clinicians got to use the beds, got to ask questions, got to kick the tires.
We brought 3 vendors in. We put them in a room with comparable beds, what we felt were comparable beds, and we had staff come in to do what we called a bed fair. And with this, we had nursing staff, we had techs, we had physical therapists, maintenance, infection control, everyone that we felt would touch the bed directly or indirectly at any point in the life of the bed. There were positive reviews from everyone. There was some skepticism, of course, up front because of the LINET not having the market share, but hands down, LINET checked the box. They were better in pretty much all the categories.
if I were talking to other people in other organizations in similar roles, I would tell them that if you end up making a large bed standardization acquisition and you don't consider LINET, you're probably making a mistake. LINET really tries to understand what the customer's looking for, and if value is anywhere in your equation for decision making, you need to be talking to the LINET guys.
Our LINET relationship has allowed us to standardize the beds in 2 of our institutions at both the Gulf Breeze Hospital and the Baptist Hospital campuses. We were then able to roll down our better beds that we had down to our other institutions, and we've embarked on a long-term commitment with LINET to standardize to the bed corporate-wide. So as we move down the continuum to replace beds, we'll replace beds with the LINET beds because it provides a standard for the organization. It's a high-quality product, has ease of use. We'll be able to standardize those maintenance things, those things we need to do, so we'll have them throughout the entire organization.
So LINET being a new company to the Americas, we were a little hesitant. I was a little hesitant on the service aspect of LINET, but from start to finish, whether it was our field representative or their team that came in throughout the implementation, they went over and above our expectations of service.
I think the value that LINET brings to the table, their willingness to listen to us as the customer, understand the real business needs and where healthcare reform is going, how we need to provide a high quality product, one-stop shopping. So I need my bed to have everything in the bed. I don't need to negotiate for a specific scale or for an additional feature. They've been innovative in their processes. They've listened to clinicians and they've added that value to the bed, and it's in the base model of the bed.
I would tell them that if you end up making a large bed standardization acquisition and you don't consider LINET, you're probably making a mistake.
The value is there on the price point, but the value, more importantly, is there on the product and on the durability and on the features and all of the components that it offers. I've been doing this for 12 years in different hospitals throughout the country, and I've heard from many vendors have come into my office to say, we have the best widget, we have the best this, we have the best that. And when we look at the vendor to put their money where their mouth is, 90% of the time we've seen some failures. And I absolutely can say with full confidence that with LINET, the promises that were provided to us have been delivered upon.
I would encourage other CNOs and organizations to look at the LINET bed because of its functionality, because of the innovations that are state-of-the-art and are unique in the industry, and also for the sheer joy that it brings to be able to provide the nursing staff and the patients with a superior product that does indeed make their lives easier, safer, and more comfortable for our patients.